Tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose and you go home. So we call all underdogs, dreamers and believers. And we ask you again, one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
Welcome to Bearcat Stadium in Sherman, Texas, where Texoma FC of USL League One hosts UPSL side Foro FC. It's the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Hello, everyone. Alongside Eric Dobransky, I'm Maura Sheridan. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Well, for Texoma, a pretty big name, signed with the team on loan from FC Dallas, it's Diego Pepe.
And he's going to be vital to matches, elimination matches just like tonight, when you have to take your chances but also convert your chances. It's his intelligence in and around the box. It's his movement off the ball. It's the occupation of those two center backs and the areas he allows his teammates to operate in as well.
Well, this Foro SC side pulled off a cup set last year when they took care of business against an MLS Next Pro team, Austin FC2, so looking for more of that tonight.
And displaying the balance in both boxes that you need to advance in a tournament such as the U.S. Open Cup. 3 matches so far, 4 goals in each of their 3 qualifying round matches, and only 4 goals conceded, so it's displaying both sides of the ball.
And what's interesting about this game is it's the first ever game for Texoma FC. This is a new team in USL League One. Here are the starting 11s for both squads. And
to your point, Maura, the Texoma, Adrian Forbes, their head coach, was very keen on the mentality of his group. As you mentioned, their first match, so look for Preston McKilwen, Jordan Chavez to be very important to that back line. And then for Foro, again, that balance both in and out of possession is going to be very important for this side.
Well, just about ready to kick off in Sherman, Texas. Reyes Vargas is our center referee. Orange kits for Foro SC Texoma, wearing the red striped kits at home. It will be Foro to start with possession on the road. Again, a cup set last year in 2024. And we are underway in the U.S. Open Cup here in 2025. And for Texoma, not only the first game, but of course the first appearance in the U.S. Open Cup as well. Head coach Adrian Forbes is talking about it with us today. Forbes himself has a lot of experience in tournaments like this. He played in the FA Cup with Luton Town FC.
Gave us a great story about the hat trick he scored, and he said he almost had the opportunity for 2 consecutive hat tricks and he missed a penalty.
Yeah, those memories really staying with him as a player, very successfully abroad in England, and now comes to the United States to take on this new team, Texoma, and just build this group from scratch. One of 5 new teams in USL League One, of course a professional team, as Pepe was the intended target, but that's off the mark. A reset here by Gonzalo Santo Martinez, who is the keeper for Foro today.
We had a lot of USL League One teams kicked off this past weekend, and Texoma has their opening match this coming Saturday. So still have not kicked off their regular season, so quite a unique start to their inaugural season. Start in a tournament style, one of the most competitive tournaments, the history behind the U.S. Open Cup.
Off the takeaway, looking for a service, but it sails over the crossbar and out of play. But aggression for Texoma on that far side.
And these are the opening exchanges that start to define the momentum and the ebbs and flows that you're going to see throughout a matchup like this, because both teams, and again, that's what we love about the U.S. Open Cup, is the unique matchups you get in every single round. And then you get matchups where these two teams, there's just no way that you would have seen anything in terms of the way they build out, the way they're in possession, the way they're out of possession. So both these teams are really getting a live scouting report and problem solving real time. So you get a look at where you can press them into problems, where you can turn them over, how high up the field can you recuperate possession, as you see Texoma earning an early corner, and then set pieces become a massive part of the game as well.
Well, Spangler's going to take the first corner kick for Texoma on that far side. A little bit of pushing and shoving, trying to create some separation as Pepe, a 20-year-old, get on loan from FC Dallas. A bit of a warning coming for Pepe from our center official, Vargas. Spangler, the 24-year-old, steps back on the in-swinger back post, and it's untouched and out of play. Not how you want to execute that first ever corner kick.
Yeah, and that's going to be one that he's going to want to get corrected, because especially as I mentioned, the early exchanges, you get these free kicks, the corner kicks, you want to make sure you put them in and around the box. You cause some havoc around the goalkeeper, make them make a play.
Perkins rising for that one for Texoma. Now shuffling back defensively. There's a League One side. Actually plays first game, as you mentioned, this weekend against Knoxville. Knoxville, a team that will play in the U.S. Open Cup tomorrow against Appalachian FC. Played long, up over the top. And it's headed away after a collision by Foro. For Foro SC, this is just the second ever appearance in the U.S. Open Cup, and it's quite a long journey for these amateur teams to get here. Have to win a whole bunch of qualifiers, won 3 games to qualify, most recently against Houston Regals 4-2. And for a lot of these clubs like Foro, the amateur season hasn't necessarily started the UPSL season, so just kind of piecing together these rosters, it can be difficult, but does mean there's a lot of unknown for Texoma. As you mentioned, you cannot really game plan for these types of games. On the swing, Kilwine moves it left here for Texoma. John A goes to work, 1v1 off the cross, and it's wide. Just touched out for Texoma.
And again, here early on, Texoma doing a terrific job of driving to this end line and getting good numbers in and around the box. They had good layers there. He's going to pick out the runner, but good emergency defending, only giving up the corner kick.
It's Spangler from the left side this time. Didn't get a shot off on that first corner for Texoma. Here's another one, not even 10 minutes into this match. This one low and powerful, but still nothing much. Foro looking to transition the other way, picking up speed, don't have numbers, just gonna slow and possess now. Being bothered there, and a foul's called.
You can see that attack-minded style of play that Adrian Forbes spoke to us about today. Ability to play on the front foot, to be exciting, energetic.
Yeah, he said he wants to play some entertaining soccer this year. That's probably a good approach when you're a new team to a community too, trying to build a fan base, as Texoma is. Can't put the name because Texas and Oklahoma, and they're right on the edge of Oklahoma. Now the flag goes up there against the home side.
It's like they're bringing this back for a foul at midfield. And I think that's the big thing for Foro, is absorbing some of those big transition moments and some of those moments where you do get dispossessed in dangerous areas, but also continuing to build yourself into the match on the attacking side. You mentioned the goals they scored in their last qualifier. So obviously they have the ability to score in bunches, because in the end it's going to be about keeping Texoma honest on and off the ball. You want to make sure that you can prove to them you can hurt them in transition, in possession, that they've got to be aware of that.
Almaguer. Rayo. Nice ball ahead here for Foro. Anderson whips it across. Bobbled, not totally cleared by Texoma. It looked like Foro player is calling for a handball in the 18. Not going to get a call there. John A. Skied up and out.
And that right there was a great example of them building and picking their moment. And again, there's going to be so many questions that have to be answered through this 90-minute match that every team's going to have to make adjustments. And the one thing that you see year after year after year in the U.S. Open Cup is that it showcases the expansive talent and quality that exists throughout the country, throughout the leagues, and the ambitions of the players and the organizations that compete in the U.S. Open Cup. Talk to every coach and every team that plays in the Open Cup, and they know how difficult it is to continue to advance. Foro had that 2-2 draw and advanced in penalties last year against Austin FC, MLS Next.
Johnny back post, and that one's just too high, but the connection was there for Texoma.
You could already see the early intent. Talked about that ability to drive the end line. But you have Diego Pepe dragging players and defenders into that near post and opening up that space. Just got that final touch a bit wrong, but very clever in the timing and the location of the run. So something that Adrian Forbes is going to continue to want to see from his side.
Well, we've seen Johnny have some early success up this left flank as he looks to combine there on the underlapping run. Spangler across, little heel pass broken up, looking to square McManus, and it's dribbled out of play. Texoma with yet another corner kick. We've already seen 3. This will be the 3rd one in the opening 10+ minutes of this match.
Just want to put that delivery around that 6-yard box.
Spangler off his left foot. Some pace of that bounces through. No clean shot. It's blocked. Second chance. Saved. Santa Martinez denies. Again, not out of the woods here. Texoma is going to reset just outside the box. Lift it in. And the flag goes up. Kilwine. The 28-year-old had stepped off.
Santa Martinez does a terrific job. So we see some 2nd, 3rd, 4th opportunities here. Follows this all the way through. An enormous amount of traffic in front of him. But it almost seems like Foro is very passively defending in their own 18-yard box, and does that open up something even more dangerous for Texoma?
Kilwine, a Costa Rican with a ton of experience professionally, 150+ professional appearances, most recently with South Georgia Tormenta. A couple of players actually on this roster for Texoma previously with Tormenta, including Spangler, who we've seen take the corner kicks.
This is a Texoma side that the roster construction, they were built with a terrific blend of young up-and-coming players, but also the inclusion of some top experienced players and from all various levels.
Well, Chavez with a strong tackle there as it's played up ahead. Spangler just outside the 18, shifty with it, and that's a lovely ball, but just can't connect. Pepe was there. And these are probably some of the early misconnections that you're going to see in a team in game number 1.
Yep, you're 100% right, and I think it's something for, in a match like this, especially when your first game as a team is in an elimination match, you have to make sure you guard yourself from just assuming that that final opportunity is going to come, because they're creating some quality looks, but they just have not, other than the save that Santa Martinez had to make on that fourth wave of the corner, they haven't necessarily executed at a high clip. It's going to be something that they're going to want to continue to develop and define, to your point.
Well, Chavez whistled for that one. Moving quickly is Foro SC. Sprinting forward on that left side. And a foul in the box. It's a penalty. Chavez commits, and it's just a transition opportunity. And Foro catches this Texoma defense off guard. And now the UPSL side has an opportunity to take the lead.
And it starts with a quick restart. Foul at midfield, play the ball wide, and we saw it earlier along that right flank when they worked in the half space. They had good numbers, they had good drive, and then this one, handball in the box.
So it's Brian Padilla who's going to step up. A Maryland product. Mason McCready, his first big test. And Foro SC is up. A made penalty from Padilla. Well, frankly, we haven't seen Foro with a lot of possession in these opening 15 minutes, but they take advantage of the one look that they have, earn a penalty, and Padilla buries it.
And credit to Foro, because as to your point, they have not seen a lot of the ball, but they have picked their moments extremely well. You could see some of their play out of the back, their commitment to possessing through that defensive third, but they have the ability for quick strike, and you've seen it a couple times thus far, and this one was off a quick restart. Foul at midfield. Good execution by Brian Padilla. Deceptive run up. And for all the chances that Texoma have looked to create in this first 16 minutes, they're the team that find themselves the goal down.
Pepe stumbles a little bit. Now squares. McManus has it tapped away, and a corner kick's coming for Texoma. Yet another. This is the fourth of the match. And now Texoma playing from behind, searching for the equalizer at home.
And I know not the way that Adrian Forbes drew it up and wanted to see his season start with this group.
Well, Foro SC has established itself as a very strong UPSL team. They compete in the Texas North Division. They've been a finalist in the UPSL 3 times, 2021 National Championship, and clinch conference titles every single year. Once again bent, but nobody there. Settled by Rayo. Off the cross, step 2, and just a throw in coming for the visitors. That's Braden Anderson, part of the U.S. men's deaf national team. Anderson. Lifted in the midfield. Santa Martinez is way off his line. Spangler. Pepe controls. Feeds. McManus is offside.
You can see what they're looking to do. The combination, the link-up play is there. The timing is just a bit off. And a lot of the times when this is their first competitive match, obviously you would have had preseason matches, you'd have inter-squad matches, you'd have a lot of prep in that regard, but until you're seeing it for the first time as a collective 11, a lot of that timing, a lot of the intricacies of the final third and the attacking side of the ball, you start to experience and see them continue to build off of. But I think some of the bigger questions for Texoma right now is how do they minimize the attacking moments from Foro, because not that Foro is creating attacking chances in bunches right now, but when they go down the field, they are finding some success.
McManus goes down just at the edge of the 18. And Santa Martinez is there to corral it in. Oh, Pepe, step 2, Spangler is whistled for that one as he knocked down Kapetsky.
As I mentioned a few moments ago, going down a goal in your first ever competitive match in a knockout format, it's going to reveal a lot of character from what you have from this group from Texoma. So what you don't want to do is get frustrated early. You still have plenty of time. You conceded early. You've created some good chances. And for Foro, just keep doing what you're doing in terms of, I think you can win some of your defensive battles and your duels a little higher up the field and not invite Texoma into the defensive third as early as you are, but offensively doing a good job of building inside and then hitting Texoma out in the wide spaces.
Mo Kilwine off the restart. Plays it long and ends up out of play. Well, Texoma, the idea came across in 2022 when CEO Simon Kaiser and President Ben Watson actually met at a wedding. Realize this is a growing community and an opportunity to start a professional soccer club. And so again, they enter League One here in 2025. Jolted around, no clear control. Kilwine. Jane off the heavy touch is met there by Anderson. Ping pongs around Anderson in a foot race. Jane is disrupted just enough. And a goal kick's coming for Santa Martinez.
Texoma continues to find success down this left side. Now can they find something positive on the end of some of these wide deliveries? That's another area for Foro that you need to continue to be cautious of, is some of the build-up play, some of the opportunities that Texoma has in the press. What you don't want to do is concede the equalizer. Some casual capacity.
Chavez rises for it. Dribbled away for Texoma, blocked down. And trying to earn it back was that Foro front line. Anderson off the touch. Rayo. Played through the midfield, a little bit congested. Pepe. Blazing in, there's a collision, and it's a good spot for a free kick coming up for Texoma. Drawn there by JP Jordan II, the 22-year-old.
And that's good anticipation, earning his team a dangerous free kick. Looks like Spengler over this as well. Looks like a number of players over it now. Get a good look at where the wall sets up. So although it's in a dangerous position, it is still difficult in regards to you not only have to beat the wall, but you have to beat Santa Martinez.
Spengler off his left foot, blocked by the wall. Second chance. Nothing much there again. This one gonna hang up there. Santa Martinez swats it down. Is he the last to touch? No. Looks like he got it to hit off the back. No, he is the last to touch. That makes sense. I was gonna say. Sold that well, but it is a corner for Texoma.
Already had several looks at this, so they can continue to explore different setups.
Spengler. We haven't seen one shot come off of any of the corner kick opportunities that Texoma's had. And here, transition look, ripped down, pretty obvious.
He might have a red card here.
Yeah, straight red coming. So Ramos, his day is done and down to 10 men, Texoma.
Yeah, you were just mentioning that these attacking corners have not concluded with any sort of offensive shot or opportunity. And not only that, it concluded with a quick transition from Foro, putting Ozzy Ramos into a difficult decision. It's always a difficult predicament because you still have so much ground to cover. So you almost, if you don't have support and you don't have defenders around you, you almost want to let this play out. I understand the premise in terms of the professional foul. You only concede the free kick instead of conceding a goal, but there was still a lot of work to do.
And as the last line, that's going to be a red card every time, so.
Absolutely right.
Well, we've really seen two transition opportunities, two really good transition opportunities for Foro, and both have ended in mistakes for Texoma. One in the box led to a penalty and led to the go-ahead goal so far that Padilla buried, and the second was just played up ahead. Nobody was there except for Ramos. He fouls now down to 10 players. So it's been limited chances for Foro, but credit to them, they're making mistakes happen.
Yeah, and for Texoma, when you are a team and a group that wants to be as ball dominant as they are and want to be as exciting offensively as and to be fair, they have found that success here in this match. You do not disregard, but you do lose track of some of your roles and responsibilities defensively. Good link-up play.
Rayo up ahead, diving on it is a keeper, McCready. That pass intended for Padilla.
And when you're on the ball and you're creating some of those chances, you tend to lose track of what your first responsibility is defensively, whether it's on the press, whether it's the support, whether it's the coverage, whether it's just the structure and the shape. And that's going to be things that Adrian Forbes and this group are going to have to learn, and they're going to continue to grow at.
Rayo, Anderson, Kopetsky, Spangler. A swarm of orange kits surround, and he's dispossessed. Played wide here for Foro.
And now for Foro, it's going to be about, can you continue to play with that tempo in transition, and don't relax and be up the player. You know you're going to be up the player the rest of the match, but make sure you take advantage of it. I think a lot of times, and you'll talk to coaches and players, is there's too much assuming when you go up a player. You get too casual with some of the play itself.
Pepe, aggressive, nearly a takeaway. Gets that to hit off of the defender there in Robinson. Well, if anybody knows that, it's Foro, because last year in the US Open Cup, it was a late equalizer, also down 10 men, that pushed this team into extra time, ultimately penalties, to beat an MLS Next Pro side. So they are aware as a club that this game is far from over. Padilla's been a bit of an issue when he does get the ball. And of course, he's the one to score the penalty that gave this Foro team the lead. Anderson. Jane splits the defense, cuts around, and is stepped on there. Jane goes down, but a free kick is coming from this left side.
He has been a handful in this matchup. Good win here. And just the ability to drive. You almost want him to continue that run, but still earning a dangerous free kick. And these are going to be the moments where Texoma are going to look to try to get back into this match.
Yeah, originally won by JP Jordan II. I think he's done well to win in the midfield a couple of times in a couple duels that we've seen. Most recently earned a pretty close range free kick. This one pretty close range. Bend, back post, and again, just airmailed out. I wonder if the wind is playing a factor. It is quite windy in Sherman, Texas.
And it does look like it's adding to the unpredictability of some of these services, because we've had a number of corners and free kicks. And obviously, Spangler is on these set pieces because of the quality delivery and the consistent location, and just has not been there thus far.
Well, Mason McCready is down, the keeper for Texoma. Does give both these teams an opportunity to chat after half an hour of play. This Texoma bench in general is very thin. They have 5 players who are unavailable because they're still working through some visa issues. So they only have 5 subs, 2 of which are keepers. So they have 3 field players that they can rotate. And of course, playing with just 10 men for the rest of this match. Ozzy Ramos was the last man back. He had to make a choice, and he decided to rip down the player that was sprinting ahead in transition, and it ultimately put this team in a precarious situation, already down a goal.
If you're 4-0, this is the start you were looking for. I mean, it was probably a match where you looked at it, you didn't think that you were going to necessarily outpossess and dominate the ball, but you've picked the right moments, you've defended collectively, you've made it very difficult for Texoma in those final moments. Yes, they've been successful in some of those initial actions that have created some of those opportunities, but done a tremendous job of getting back behind the ball, making channels very narrow and difficult to play into. Now you're up a player. You see this half out, maybe add to the lead, create one more clear-cut opportunity before the break.
Santa Martinez. And McCready's able to continue here as a pile-up against Chavez. Late tackle there from the 28-year-old.
And this is where Foro has begun to build into the game. It's these second and third actions in midfield. Earlier on, those second and third actions were dominated by Texoma, and that's why you saw a lot of that possession go one way, and the field was almost tilted in terms of how quick Texoma was able to find some of that wide play. But now Foro winning those duels in midfield. Saw it on the play that led to the penalty. A foul at midfield, quick restart.
Poked away, but still controlled by Foro. Pino. Jolted back to the midfield for Texoma. Played through the air. Lands for Pepe. Plays it wide. Chipped over the top. Pepe picking up speed. Pepe in the box. Diego Pepe shoots. And it's just touched away by Santa Martinez. Got his fingertips on that one. I could see the frustration for Pepe. Thought he had the equalizer.
Yeah, and it looked like he had Santa Martinez committed to go into ground, but good reaction save there. Good way to push it away from goal. Into another corner kick.
Spangler. Texoma looking for the club's first ever goal. Down here in the U.S. Open Cup. On the near post, nothing to that one again, but it's right back to him. Second ball perhaps for Spangler. And he goes to work past the defender, and he'll get a third opportunity on a corner kick for Texoma. About 10 minutes to go in this first half.
It's about clearing that first line. You could see the traffic that Texoma is putting in and around Santa Martinez.
Well, there's certainly no room for him to really see anything. Near post again, but there's not enough air on that to make it to a player for Texoma. And Spangler with the tackle. Well, this is going to take us to the Ramadan hydration break during the U.S. Open Cup. I've seen one goal in this game for Foro SC. It was Brian Padilla from the spot, but it came about because of this transition opportunity.
Handball in the box, and then Brian Padilla steps up, left-footed, tucks this ball away. Coming moments after you felt like Foro was growing into the game, and they were doing it first with collective defending, numbers behind the ball, the commitment to the structure. Getting their distances right. They were making sure that it was difficult for Texoma get that final opportunity. And then they were starting to win some of those transition moments, and it started with a foul at midfield. The clever idea to have a quick restart put themselves in a tremendous position, and then the quick counter off a defensive corner, and then the red card picked up by Ozzy Ramos.
Well, just a score update here in the U.S. Open Cup. Hartford goes final with the New York Shockers, 3-0. Whole bunch of games going on here Tuesday through Thursday in the first round of the U.S. Open Cup. And round one this week, 32 games, and it's amateur versus professional teams. Hence some of the cup sets that will ultimately happen over the course of this week. And the winners of the first round will play each other in the second round, which consists of 16 games 2 weeks from now. And it all leads up to October 1st in the final in U.S. Open Cup. LAFC, the defending champions, MLS side. 16 MLS sides will eventually enter the fray here in U.S. Open Cup, but that's a long ways away for both Texoma and Foro SC, just focusing on finishing this half on a strong note.
And Texoma, they want to influence the narrative going into the break, and it'll be fascinating. If this scoreline stays the same, what does Foro do? Do they go and chase a second goal, or do they they know they're playing with the lead, but do you try to protect that lead? Do you open yourself up to a potential counterattack? I mean, we saw Diego Pepe get in just a few moments ago. So what's the approach by Alejandro Rodia and his group?
Well, Lara throws an elbow, hence the yellow card. It's the first yellow card that we've seen in this game. We've seen a red card, but not a yellow card. That's the first card in general against Foro. Intended for Jane, sliding out. It will be a throw for Anderson and Foro. With less than 5 minutes to go here in the first half, Anderson off his left foot. Pedraza. Rayo. Anderson has some time. He surveys, looking to switch the point of attack. He moves it to the left side. Kind of a weird touch there, off the bounce. Oh, there is no rush for Foro, in control of this game. A little bit of pressure coming from McManus and Pepe. Played through the middle. Centered now. It's a lovely ball ahead. Into the 18. There's a shot for Foro, and it just bounces wide. It's a good opportunity for Lara, but he can't convert.
Oh, that was terrific build-up play from Foro. Well-weighted ball played in behind. And just wide.
Really have shown some brilliance when they do get in the attacking third. It's been few and far between. And here comes another nice combination. It's Anderson up the flank, and he's slowed there by Jane. Those two have been going head-to-head a lot in this match. Rayo. Off the swing, quick touches through the middle. Pedraza. Kabetsky. Rayo. Product of Columbus Crew 2 in MLS Next Pro. Jane. Can Texoma counter? Kept in, Jane, and he stepped on. Yellow card's coming. And some extracurriculars after the fact between these two teams. It was quite a rough tackle.
I'll go back to it. Johnny has just been explosive on that flank, and you can see Texoma frustrated with that foul.
Oh, red card came out in that scuffle. We did just see a late push from, it looked like Kilwine. And our referee's gonna have to get this under control.
That's where Texoma needs to be careful because they're already playing 10 players. It looks like Kilwine picks up a yellow.
So Kilwine picks up a yellow, but a red card came out. The question is, who was that given to? In that skirmish, it was very difficult to see. There were so many players around. So Texoma is playing down 10 players, and it does appear that that red card goes against a Foro player, which would even us to 10 apiece. Now, Johnny is able to get up. Amidst all of that, he was down injured, and that's kind of what began everything, that late tackle.
Talk about influencing the narrative going to the break. Now, just a few minutes away from halftime, and Texoma pick up the yellow, but to your point, now Foro down to 10 players.
So it's Nate Kopetsky who gets the red card in that situation. Kilwine, who just got a yellow, bends that one out of play. And once again, these set pieces are just not what Texoma would want. However, both teams now playing with 10 men for the rest of this match. It's been a very interesting half, Texoma and Foro. A lot of intrigue, a lot of fouls.
Yeah, it's been a bit choppy and broken up. One of the fouls.
Lara springs forward. He's got options. Rayo's one. Lara cuts it back to his right. Here's Rayo, has some space, shoots, and he's denied. McCready says no. Rayo another chance as he cuts that across and just can't totally get that put to Padilla, who was on the back post. Oh, what a good opportunity for Foro in the attacking third. The other way for Texoma as we're in stoppage time, 5 minutes in this first half, and that's a wayward pass. Padilla sends that one out of play.
And if Texoma comes back to equalize, this save by McCready is going to be massive because, again, Foro continues to find itself level in numbers when they go forward. And then in that situation, get Texoma overcommitted, find that open player. Big save by McCready.
Oh, McManus is bumped off the ball by Robinson. Lara. Circles, squares. Bit of a light pass. Looked like Pepe maybe had a chance to step on that one. Lara being pushed from behind there. Is dispossessed. Texoma. And that pass is broken up. Rio Ramirez, the captain, does well. And now he's knocked down in some pain, clutching his knee. And another card's coming out against Texoma. So it's Spangler. So Kilwine and Spangler are both playing on yellows for Texoma. Of course, Ramos got the red card and he has exited the game. Lara's playing on a yellow for Foro. And then they had Kopetsky pick up a red card and exit the game, just to give you a little breakdown of where we are, for my own purposes too, just to keep track.
feel like we started out this match with some rhythm and some flow, and it's just kind of dissipated in terms of some of the stoppages we've had.
Kilwine heads it to his keeper. McCready just gonna push everybody forward. Off the head of Janae. Pepe in the corner, nowhere to go. Finds Janae in a space, drives forward into the 18. Spangler off his left foot, just behind Pepe. Creates some separation. Janae with a shot, trying to go top shelf. What a look, but it's just a hair over.
And a combination between two players that have been heavily involved in this first half. Janae and Pepe almost gets this left-footed curler work past Santa Martinez, but climbs over the crossbar.
Valentine, the 19-year-old, has his pass intercepted. On the left flank, Chavez steps to. Speed through the middle. McManus, Pepe, flag goes up. Too good to be true for Texoma as we near the end of this first half.
And although that is called offside, and they've had a few here in this first 45, they are living on this Foro back line, and it only takes one chance where you can find that space in behind, and Diego Pepe is asking all the right questions. This Texoma team is just looking for that class opportunity that gets them their first goal of the night and their first goal for this organization and this team.
McCready.
Still think there's elements defensively that Texoma is gonna want to tidy up. Whether it's the first ball press, support, some of those second and third actions that have led to some transition moments for Foro.
Jordan. Oh, spinning off a defender, there's a foul. Oh, could be the final look and possession for Texoma in this first half. Delivered. Valentine. Well, he was the intended target, but couldn't quite connect through the air. Janae. It's gonna have Perkins throw this in instead. Perkins into the 6. Little chaotic sequence, but no shot. And you saw the Texoma player Chavez stick a leg out there, and now there's a player injured for Foro SC as we see the whistle blown to end the first half. A very physical first half. We saw a penalty goal scored by Padilla, and that's the difference.
Yeah, and for both teams at the break, they're going to try to figure out how they can bring some order and stability and sustainability to their game in the second half, because Texoma has created some of those chances, just missing that final action. And for Foro, finding good moments, but what does that now look like at 10 men? And can they continue to win some of these second and third actions is going to be the big question.
But we'll take a break and come back for the second half here in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It's a 1-0 lead for Foro SC, the UPSL side, over Texoma FC, the USL League One side.
Chavez in the 45th 22nd. Look forward to seeing each and every one of you out here. If you really want it, you gotta be there. Get down on it. Come on, man. Get down on it. Wine dancing. Get down on it. Oh, yeah. You move me, baby, when you start.
Welcome back to Sherman, Texas. It's a 1-0 lead for Foro SC over Texoma FC. So we got a cup set brewing as of the first half in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Alongside Eric Dobransky, I'm Maura Sheridan. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Well, of course, we got a busy week here in round one in the U.S. Open Cup. So a bunch of games coming up on Wednesday. You and I will be on the call of Appalachian FC and 1 Knoxville. But from 6 o'clock to 7:30 and on Wednesday night, there is U.S. Open Cup action.
Yeah, that's Sporting Kansas City 2, Des Moines Menace. Des Moines Menace is made an objective to be a menace every season in the U.S. Open Cup. That's going to be a tough matchup right there. And then Inter Miami 2, and then Miami United. That'll be another classic. And then Lexington SC in the U.S. Open Cup and hosting Southern Indiana.
And then here's the late slate of games on Wednesday night. Remember, there are games on Thursday as well.
Monterey Bay playing San Francisco, El Paso Locomotive. And again, a lot of these teams in and out of their seasons in terms of the USL Championship teams have kicked off. But some of these other teams kind of constructed rosters to compete in the U.S. Open Cup.
Well, back to this Foro SC Texoma game. Highlights from the first 45 minutes, and Texoma, specifically Jane, had a lot of joy on this left side to open the game.
And that's somebody that they're going to want to count on here going into the second half, is Jane asking a lot of dangerous questions. And Texoma was playing on the front foot to start this game and created some opportunities. Big save there by Santa Martinez. But Foro grew into this match, started to pick some dangerous moments to go forward, and then got the early penalty. Brian Padilla converts it, left footer, and then Ozzy Ramos with the red card here, and this came off an attacking corner for Texoma. The counterattack went down a player, and then Jane continued to be dangerous. Earns this foul, then the extracurriculars that ensued while Jane was down, and it was Nate Kopetsky that earned the red card. And so now coming into the second half, both these teams will be playing with 10, and this last opportunity by Jane. And there was good involvement by Diego Pepe as well, so it's going to be fascinating to see now how do these teams attack this second 45. Obviously, Foro playing with that 1-0 advantage. Do you change the formation? Do you change the structure? Do you sit in a bit more and absorb some pressure? You know that Texoma is going to come out and continue to push for that equalizer.
Well, Texoma will start with possession in the second half. Just a note, right before we went to the halftime break, Chavez got a yellow card on what was a late and rough tackle. And so now Chavez, Spangler, and Killwine are on yellow cards for Texoma. And we're underway here in the second half. 2025 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Foro SC up 1-0 on a USL League One side in Texoma at Bearcat Stadium in Sherman, Texas. Spangler. Oh, he's way off with that one on his left foot. He's had a difficult game in terms of set pieces. We've seen a handful and plenty of opportunities for Texoma to really test the keeper in Santa Martinez on corner kicks, and really nothing has come of those so far. And whether they can clean it up in the second half is yet to be decided, but I'm gonna guess they're gonna be working on those in training coming up.
Yeah, it's always about the quality of delivery and then obviously the timing of the runs. So something that here early on for Texoma, I know they have not started their regular season in USL League One. It's something they're going to want to look at. And it is one of those balances of how much do you show in your first match as you head into the regular season in terms of the set pieces, the free kicks, the corners. But now when you're playing in a US Open Cup and it's one game elimination, you're gonna throw everything you have going forward to find the equalizer and then go ahead and push for the game winner. For Foro, it's gonna be continuing to protect that space in behind the back line. We saw Texoma get in behind a number of times in that first 45. But as that half wore on, the ability of Foro to squeeze those channels, make it difficult for them to play into. That decision to whether you absorb the pressure or you tighten the channel, as we saw the foul there.
Well, Ramirez is still down in some pain, but we play on. Perkins. It looks like Vargas is gonna come check on Ramirez, and based on that hand motion, looks like he's saying, thought that was a dive.
And that's going to be another area for Texoma that they're going to want to remedy is some of the choppiness that we saw towards the latter portion of that first 45, because when this game is in rhythm and has fluidity to it, you have to like what they're creating. But towards the end of that first half, a lot of stop and go. It became very transitional. And you could see that Texoma was getting frustrated with the lack of fluidity and the lack of rhythm.
Perkins, gotta be cautious. Padilla's looming. McCready, the keeper. In the circle, McManus. Can't totally bring it in. And Ramirez hits Jordan.
And right now for Texoma, it's going to sound obvious, but you just need to create one clear-cut chance. You got to take your chances, you got to execute. So there's no rush. No need to force something that's not there quite yet. You still have plenty of time.
Well, these Open Cup games are elimination games, so one and done. And we will have a winner. So that means extra time penalties are on the table if necessary in this match. But right now, Foro with the lead. Padilla has the penalty. Valentine. Valentine, a product of Solar SC. A couple players on this Texoma roster. Pepe, too far ahead, and scooped up there by Santa Martinez. That Solar SC club is a premier club on both the men's and women's side. Weston McKinney being one of the many successful products. And of course, it's a local club too, as Foro SC is a Dallas area UPSL team. And for Texoma from here in Sherman, Texas.
We see that so much. These clubs being an excellent blend of local talent from the community, players with various experience. That's what you just have to thoroughly enjoy about the matchups that we get in the Open Cup. And that's that space that I was just talking about. Just takes one clever ball in behind and Texoma would be into that area and off on the break. And we saw Diego Pepe have an opportunity like that in the first half. was met by a terrific save by Santa Martinez. You have to wonder if the late red card, now level at 10 players, has changed what Foro was going to do going into the second half.
Oh, Ramirez once again looking for a call. He gets one that time as he spins down to the ground. Pepe has to step back here for Texoma. The problem for Texoma is even if they wanted to change things up, they just don't have a lot of options on the bench. Foro SC on the other side has plenty of choices. There's a full bench here tonight.
And we've touched on Texoma's unique start to the season, and picking up a red card in their first match always makes it even more challenging, because you talk about the ground coverage. You're a few days from your regular season opener against One Knox, a team that plays tomorrow in the US Open Cup. So now you're already limited off the bench in terms of the overall numbers and the depth. Now you've got to play over half the match with only 10. Now obviously Foro has now matched that. But when you're just starting the season and you're still getting that match fitness, you're still getting that collective fitness, does it put an even heavier load on the legs going into that opening weekend? Again, you're going to continue to press and push for that equalizer.
Rayo taking on a defender. He swerves towards the middle. Off the spin. Rayo still has it. Moves it to his right. Takes a shot and bends that way out.
Almost looked like that late introduction of Brian Padilla would have been dangerous on that left side, but good recovery from Texoma. You can just hear the wind howling.
Well, that's sort of the nature of this Texas-Oklahoma line. You're going to have to deal with inclement weather over the course of this summer, so it's something for these Texoma players to get used to, but a lot are local players, so that's just something that got to deal with.
It's always challenging, because I'll say it from my coaching experience, when you could deal with rain, you could deal with snow, you could deal with a lot of different elements, but wind is one of those where it's almost one of the most frustrating elements to deal with. And regardless of how you play, whether you play a possession style or a direct style, it just adds this unpredictability.
A strong throw into the 6, lands and now is cleared for Texoma. Spangler has it ripped away. Pino stumbles. And Perkins finds his keeper, who skies this up towards the middle. Racing back, Pepe was there for Texoma. Pino. A heavy touch, Chavez jumps on it. Both teams playing with 10 players. Perkins takes a step. Play on. That was clean from Pino, says our referee, Vargas.
Pepe's energy and commitment just makes him so dangerous. He's just sitting on that back line. The timing has not always been spot on, and Texoma in general have been called offside quite a few times, but the way that they are trying to stretch this Foro team. And obviously credit to Foro, staying disciplined, staying structured, staying connected. But you almost feel like there's one chance out there for Diego Pepe. You might say that it was the one in the first half, but the way that he is isolating himself on this back line.
Oh, frustrations there for Pepe. Oh, an obvious trip. Padilla into a good space off his left foot.
Quality delivery here. Good settle by Padilla. Didn't have numbers around to connect or link up play. So took it himself on that left foot. Holds what would be the game winner if this scoreline stays.
Johnny sprinting forward, leaves it for McManus. It's a goal. The equalizer for Texoma. It's Brandon McManus, but it starts on a great transition opportunity. Texoma capitalizes, and we're level.
And you felt like that space behind that Foro back line was becoming more and more available for Texoma. And that attention to Diego Pepe. Johnny was so dangerous throughout that first half. It's a perfectly weighted ball played in. Terrific timing for McManus to tuck away the equalizer.
Well, we talked so much about Texoma in the final third. Just a little bit crisper with those passes, finally getting on the same page, and all it takes is one solid chance. And of course it had to be Johnny. All his speed, and prior to that, I think he had the best opportunity of the game, just barely over the crossbar, trying to go top shelf in the first half. And he gets the assist on that one. And suddenly this is anybody's game here in the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. Padilla curls that up, and no one on the end of it. Lara was making a run. Foro's gonna make a change. Manuel Lopez will come in. Pedraza comes out. First sub that we've seen of this match. Looks like McKinley Smith is also getting ready to come in. So Smith in, Anderson out. And two changes for Foro.
I thought Anderson's involvement in the attack in the first half was important for Foro. I thought it was an element that allowed them to build into the game. Obviously, one of those pieces was winning those duels in midfield as well, but that allowed Anderson to climb the field, beat that dangerous attacking outside back.
Half an hour to go, Texoma and Foro. Almaguer. Ramirez. Padilla. is behind Valentine, who ushers it away. That's just out of play. There's no foul there as Pino is clutching his ankle.
Now with this game level, and it's been a tight match throughout this 62 minutes, we're gonna get a good look at not just the depth of each of these sides, but the overall collective fitness and commitment.
Pepe, he's certainly fit, as that one just barely tackled away, and that touch just disrupts his run enough.
You've got to imagine that both these teams would prefer to have this match decided within the 90 minutes.
Yeah, especially for Texoma with the limited options off the bench and with that game coming up on Saturday. McCready. Into the stands here at Bearcat Stadium.
And I will say for Texoma, when you're creating some of the chances that you've created within this first 63 minutes, sometimes just seeing the ball go in the back of the net is not a relief, but it is one of those moments where just a sense of comfort knowing that, okay, we've done all this work, now we've rewarded ourselves, now let's go do it again. And you kind of keep stacking those scenarios and that belief.
Pepe gets there, past the keeper, and Santa Martinez dives on it. Boy, that seemed like goal number 2 for Texoma. Lara looking to retaliate and take the lead back for Foro, who struck first on a penalty in the first half. Sub coming in for Texoma. Angelo Calfo, the 26-year-old, will enter. Spangler out.
Mentioned this being Texoma's first match, and this is where you start to define your role, your responsibilities, whether you're a starter, a substitute.
Valentine heads that one away. Now kicks it out. Robinson lunging for it. And it's a big boot from Kilwine. Ramirez the header. Smith. Jordan does well there in the midfield. Pepe. He's back to help defensively. But they want to spring him forward. Johnny accelerates. The flag goes up. Again offside for Texoma. There's been multiple opportunities that have been called back because of being offside in this second half alone.
Yeah, and each have presented different scenarios because there's some that the ball just needs to get played in just a bit quicker. But then there's some scenarios just like that where you need to hold your run for just a split second and you stay on side because you're already level with the defender, so you're gonna win that race into space.
Ramirez. Johnny. Jordan. Flicks that up for McManus. Off the swing to Valentine. Cut through the center. Off the counter for Foro. And ripped down Israel. Free kick on the way for Foro SC.
What's gonna come down to be the difference? Is it gonna be a free kick? Is it gonna be a transition moment?
Working quickly, Lara. Off his right foot, some texture to that one. Gonna go opposite, high corner.
That shot looked like it had some tremendous dip to it that it's almost gonna catch McCready.
Oh, miscommunication with Pepe and Perkins. Santa Martinez has to run back. Jordan. Lopez. And it will be Foro SC. No card, just a call against the new sub there in Calfo for Texoma.
And this was about the time that we saw in the first half that the game started to get a bit more choppy and a bit more stagnant in terms of some of the fouls from both sides. Stop and go.
Lara. Pino. Lara on the wing. The cross. Stolen away. Pepe. Johnny tries to keep it in.
Now we've seen the roles adapt themselves for Texoma. Now we see Diego Pepe dropping in deeper and deeper, knowing that Janet and McManus are playing higher.
Jordan slides that one through. Played wide here to Perkins. Perkins off the cross. And it has some bend to it, but cut off nicely by Santa Martinez.
Combination play. Almost looks like that just needed an extra touch from Perkins to pull Foro apart. Continue to say Foro's defending in their box has come up big in some of those defining moments in this match so far. It's been some of that space left in behind their back line that has caused them some problems. But you can't question the recovery, and it's one thing to recover, but the spaces you recover into is even more important, and that's where Foro is getting it completely right.
Well, 20 minutes to go. We're even at one apiece, Texoma and Foro. A second Open Cup for Foro SC, looking for cup set number 2. And for Texoma, the first appearance in this historic tournament. Jordan. Perkins fights to get around. Pino denies. Pepe's hunting, but it's played long. Cut across and out of reach there for Lara. Oh, if he's not careful there, Lara's going to get another yellow card. Looks for time wasting. Johnny. Killwine for Pepe, slides that one through. McManus is open in the 18. Pepe plays it out to Johnny, who looks up, thought about it, moves it centrally, takes a shot, and it's right to the keeper in Santa Martinez.
And you have to feel that Adrian Forbes and Texoma like what they see from the overall creativity and the vision from their group in the attacking third. The movement and Diego Pepe, the ability to work off that blind shoulder of their defenders. And you could see Foro consistently putting their hand up to try to get an offside call. But it's just the intelligence of the space he's sitting into. And the ability to recognize where and how he wants to get to the space. Johnny has been a tremendous compliment out in that wide space, the ability to be confident 1v1. Dynamic explosiveness he possesses.
Lara explosive into the 18. Lara looks to take a shot with his right foot, and he's blocked there. Didn't seem like he was going to have enough power on that either. Wasn't sure if he was looking for a feed, but still, here's a chance, and it's punched away. McCready denies. It's a sub Lopez with the opportunity, and some pressure there for Foro.
And it almost looks like he gets caught between two thoughts and maybe sees his window to shoot close quickly and just went for the last minute poke, and then save by McCready and the take by Lopez. Now an opportunity for Foro.
Pino. Near post. Off of Jordan. We'll do it again. Oh, Padilla's posted up in front of Valentine, and McCready had some pace to it, but untouched. Well, Texoma's gonna play it out from the back, trying to draw in Padilla. Perkins slicing through to Jordan. Perkins looking for options, but Foro's back defensively.
Both teams recognizing how difficult it is to play out of the back because of the wind, so the pressure, the ability to force their opponent to play long and complete some of those longer ranging passes. Foro concedes the corner.
Yeah, it's touched out by Smith, and we saw Spangler exit this game, so it looks like it'll be Perkins that will take these corners for Foro, or excuse me, for Texoma.
And this was an area that we had talked about in the first half that got to believe that Adrian Forbes and his group were going to touch on. Be more dangerous on these services and the runs.
Perkins, header, diving down for it. Well, trying to place that in the far corner, it was difficult. So many bodies there for Chavez. Johnny. Perkins. Player goes down. And that's against Calfo. Foro with another change. Fabricio Martinez in. And then Texoma is going to make a change as well. This is the first sub that we've seen Texoma make. Out is McManus, the goal scorer. In, Solomon Asante. Solomon Asante is a very decorated player with USL Championship. 57 goals, 63 assists in his career. He's the oldest player on this Texoma roster, a big signing. He's two-time USL Championship MVP when he was with Phoenix Rising. And when we talked to Adrian Forbes about Asante, he said, look, he's not going to be able to, you know, play the whole 90, but he's going to make an impact on this team on and off the field. Cutting through, Foro has that pass intercepted, still jolted back in the attacking third. Johnny looks to just get it out of the end here for Texoma. Jordan does well there, has some green. Here's Asante. Again, the 35-year-old. Oh, he was searching for the call, but it will be a 4-0 throw.
Yeah, going back to Solomon Asante, he's that player that, in Adrian Forbes, we talked about how they went about constructing this roster. He said they're a year one club, but not year one players. Good mix of experience, good mix of youth, and Solomon Asante, one of those players that can still flip a game on its head and have a heavy influence on the outcome and the result of a match, but also brings that experience, that ability to talk to some of those younger players and kind of prepare them for what to expect, whether it's in their regular season, US Open Cup, or just their careers in general.
McCready.
Entering the match, number 20, Solomon Asante. Leaving the match, number 7,
Jordan.
McManus.
Up ahead. Here comes Texoma and Pepe. But Santa Martinez slides in and denies.
That is excellent from Santa Martinez. The awareness, again, the understanding and recognition of the space in behind, but the ability to make that play is massive for his team.
Well, Asante makes a man miss and then gets pushed in the back. And so Texoma, I think, calling for a new ball here.
Free kick brought to you by Terry Jones Insurance Agency.
And wanting to change out the ball before this free kick.
Calfo. Kilwine. Johnny goes to work. And it's touched out. Just hit a toe there in Robinson, so a corner. And it looks like Asante is going to take this now for Texoma. It was Perkins. Oh, can the seasoned vet be the difference maker late in this game for Texoma?
Chavez able to get on the end of the previous corner. I know the wind's a factor, but can Solomon Asante drive one into the mix here? And gotta beat that first defender though.
From Asante, hangs up, rising for a header was Chavez. And it's knocked back, excuse me, that was Kilwine that was there. Let the set piece woes continue for Texoma with 10 minutes to go. Foro and Texoma, both with 1 goal. And Lamar Hunt US Open Cup, extra time is on the table if we need it. Martinez has it swiped. Chavez. Johnny. Floats on it. Lofts it up with his right foot. And the other way for Foro. Jordan steps two defenders swarm. And Martinez loses a handle on it.
And it looks like Perkins had landed awkwardly on that challenge just a few moments ago. We've talked about the availability, the depth of both these teams, and both of them playing a significant amount of time with 10 players.
Yeah, Perkins being stretched out by his keeper. Actually, by Foro's keeper.
Santa Martinez coming in to help out Will Perkins.
I think Vargas is going to call for the training staff to come on now. This takes us to final 8 minutes of this game. For either side, what's the game plan here? Because again, we've talked about not wanting to go to extra time, especially for Texoma.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for Texoma, it's continue to exploit that space in behind, be spot on with your timing. I think over the last 15 minutes or so, they've gotten locked in on those runs in behind, and John A has just continued to be a menace out in that wide space, and you have to like the combination that they're playing with right now with Pepe, now with the insertion of Solomon Asante. And for Foro, can you pick your moment when you go forward? Because when they do, they've found themselves 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, and then you've got to fully commit to that attacking moment.
Well, it looks like Perkins is able to walk off on his own power. Here's the moment when he went down.
This challenge, and just see landing awkwardly. It did look like, see, we saw him getting stretched by Santa Martinez, but it does look like he might need a substitute.
Well, there's only 2 options that aren't goalkeepers left for Texoma to bring in. It looks like Leland Gray, the 19-year-old, is ready to sub in. Gray in, Perkins out. Chavez.
And just like when they were looking for the equalizer, you don't need a barrage of attacking moments, you just need the right one.
Johnny. Looks like it hit his hand. Up play through. Pepe. Oh, that did hit his hand. So it was Foro SC who found the back of the net first. It was in the first half off a penalty, and it was Brian Padilla to give his team the lead from the spot. Foro has since answered thanks to Brandon McManus, and that has brought us to where we are. We saw red cards for both teams in the first half. Johnny.
And those are the sequences for Texoma. Can they pick out one where they have collective numbers going forward. You saw Pepe and you saw Solomon Asante commit to those runs. Just unable to connect. And which team commits those numbers going forward and possibly leaves themselves susceptible to a counter?
Calfo. Chavez. Gray. Muscled away for Foro. Martinez gets a call. And a yellow card out against Valentine.
I think both teams have put themselves in some precarious situations with some of the fouls, because some of them have just been from giveaways on the ball and just casual giveaways. We see the giveaway in midfield and then it leads to the quick transition. Valentine deciding to foul, and I think that's another area that Adrian Forbes will look at is some of the decision making with where and when they foul, because there was good collective defending going on in and around the ball.
Now the flag goes up on that free kick for Foro. So a bit of a wasted opportunity for the visitors. Jordan. Oh, you could see Asante looking to see if he was off or not. Oh, it's tough because it was a pretty nice pass from Jordan. Padilla making a run. Amaguer stands over the ball. Couple players in the 18. Rayo. Amaguer possesses for Foro. Searching for cup set number 2. And a pile up. And Foro, another free kick. The last one didn't go so well. Can they be cleaner on this opportunity?
Conceding this late would be devastating for either side.
That was a little too fast,
yeah.
Says Vargas, our referee. Not sure the ball was even in the right place. Well, a big moment for Foro late in this match. Off the free kick, it's low. It's driven in off the post. Wow, that was a crazy sequence. It was initially missed by McCready, I think because of how much it was bouncing, and it hits the post. Doesn't go in for Foro.
And this ball is just put in an area where a lot of bodies are occupying that space for Texoma defensively, just passing on responsibility, and almost the same for Foro. On the offensive side, you think your teammate's in a good position to tuck that ball away, and then it spills out, and you're just too far away to help it along. But good delivery and putting it in an area that made it very difficult for Texoma to deal with.
In extra time, we got about 4 minutes left. Or excuse me, stoppage time. Oh no, I'm already there. Stoppage time here in the second half. We could go to extra time if it stays 1-1. Johnny. Oh, gets fouled on that one. Throwing a stiff arm. And Texoma trying to work quickly, but going to be called back by Vargas here. Johnny. Pepe, header, Asante high. Both players in good spots.
Oh, and you just don't see this from Solomon Asante that often. Somebody that lives and operates in the areas where goals are scored, and you just see that attention to Diego Pepe, to that near post, and the timing of Solomon Asante's run. Just unable to guide that header on frame, and he knew it right away. That could be the chance that Texoma was looking for.
Ramirez for Foro. Perhaps got away with the one there as Asante didn't finish that header. Trending towards that far post. And Foro doesn't get a shot off against McCready. Two good chances for both Foro and Texoma in this stoppage time to seal the deal. Johnny weaves through. He's still got all the energy in the world. Takes a deflection to Asante. Pepe in the box, and it's guided to the keeper.
And they talked about what the game plan and the setup would be for both these sides coming into the second half. Now looking straight at possible extra time. Now what do both these sides do? Who pushes to score the goal in play, or does one of them play wanting to go to PKs and force the decision that way? Obviously Foro advancing last season in penalties against Austin FC, MLS Next Pro.
Chavez. Gray. Foro. And a foul called. Limited time left in regulation for Foro and Texoma. Pino. Rayo. Pino. Off the stop. Holds. Still with Foro. Ramirez. Nowhere to go as Texoma sits back.
They know how careful they have to be. You want to push to score a goal, but you also need to keep yourself safe and protected from any sort of counter or any play in behind.
Pino on the combination and is blocked there by Calfo. Well, that's going to take us to the end of regulation. 1-1 Foro SC and Texoma FC. So we're headed to extra time here in the US Open Cup. Well, the way it works here in Open Cup, we have two 15-minute halves, one additional substitute, and sub window granted for extra time. There's no golden goal here. So if we're still tied after 120 minutes, we will go to penalties.
And with two teams that have, I would dare to say, have almost fully extended themselves with depth, substitutions, obviously both of them playing with after first half red cards. We see Texoma picking up the red card much earlier than Foro. But still, there's been a lot of ground to cover, and we've seen a lot of shifts in momentum throughout this 90 minutes.
Well, let's take a look at the highlights from the first 90 minutes of this game. Through regulation, that was the handball in the box that led to the penalty from Padilla.
And it all started with solid play from Texoma, playing on the front foot, playing with good momentum, but Foro doing an excellent job of absorbing some of those pressure moments and then creating some big moments themselves. Create the penalty and then create the transition moment that picks up the red card. But then right before the break, when you thought that the entire momentum was going to be carried by them, they pick up the red card. Game is then leveled at 10 players apiece, and Texoma had to feel like they were creating some quality goal-scoring chances. They just weren't taking them in front of goal. And then John A., who's been dangerous throughout this match, played to McManus to find the equalizer. And we see the scores from tonight. Hartford Athletic picking up a 3-0 win in their Open Cup first round game at home. Miami FC, a 4-1 win over Naples United.
Oh, we have seen a game go to penalties already. Chattanooga just barely squeaking by New Jersey Alliance earlier today. And some other games just kicking off and starting the second half here. It's a late slate on Tuesday night. Remember, there are games on Wednesday and Thursday here in the first round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. But gear up, we've got extra time between Texoma and Foro SC. Again, no golden goal. So if somebody scores, a game's not over. Everybody has a chance to equalize. Foro SC has played actually in extra time in the qualifiers to even get here. And what's interesting is in their second round qualifier, they end up scoring 3 goals in extra time.
It's sometimes one of those moments where extra time, the floodgates just open because of the overall tempo of play and how long it's been through the 90 minutes. And sometimes you just haven't converted some of those chances. Both these sides are gonna want to find one good chance and be the team that showcases not only their depth but their resilience, because both these teams have had to overcome some challenges throughout the 90. But for Texoma, you have to believe that if they're going to score a goal in this extra time, it's going to come from the involvement of John A. or Diego Pepe, because they've been involved in a lot of the offensive actions. For Foro, who is going to step up offensively and create that chance? We've seen Brian Padilla obviously converted the penalty to give Foro the 1-0 advantage, but haven't seen heavy involvement in the run of play. Saw a good take by Lopez towards the end of that second half.
Well, both teams' final discussions before we start this extra time. Texoma and Foro SC in the U.S. Open Cup. Now will be Foro to start with possession. The first to strike in that first half. Saw things slip away. McManus with the equalizer for Texoma, and that's where we sit, hence the extra time.
And this is something that we discussed with Adrian Forbes earlier today. We were talking about keys to the match and different areas that were going to be important to getting a result. And he said plain and simple, the first thing was the mentality. And he knew that there was going to be the ebbs and flows, that they were going to have to navigate the match itself, and obviously the complexity of what Foro throws at you and the unique matchup itself. But said these matches are always cagey, they're always a grind. You've got to earn the right to play, and you've got to earn the result.
Well, this is a busy and probably a mentally tough week to handle physically as well for Texoma, with this being the first Open Cup game, and then the first regular season game in USL League One is coming Saturday, and now with extra time, I'm sure just focused on finishing strong here and completing the comeback. Pepe still fighting for it. On the ground there was Robinson.
Yeah, it's almost one of those things where you just almost survive in advance, and obviously that is what the US Open Cup is about. But when you talk about having that regular season opener on Saturday, you talk about the early red card, the load that has placed on these players earlier on in the season. They're still trying to get match fit. Obviously, collectively, they're continuing to grow that ability, that fluidity, the cohesiveness.
Oh, this is promising for Foro as Rayo's blocked. Now this is when, as you said, fitness, tired legs may prevail for both of these teams. Johnny has not taken his foot off the gas in this one. Slips through to Pepe. Pepe in the box, shoots. And he's hit from behind as that one's tackled away. Nice job by Ramirez.
You could see what these second actions for Johnny, bringing all the attention. It was called offside in the end, but going back to where they've found some success in the 90s, that spacing behind, timing of the runs. Going back to playing extra time in the load, guarantee that that's not what the players are thinking about, or Adrian Forbes.
Yeah, including that one, Pepe, and the rest of this forward line has had quite a few offside calls against them. Just something to clean up moving forward. Here in Sherman, Texas, the Red River region. Both teams playing down a man in extra time. Rayo tripped.
This is where, as extra time wears on, talked about the load, the fatigue. Does it play a factor not only physically, but mentally? Got to make sure you stay switched on both sides of the ball. So for Foro right now, earning the free kick. Can they be detailed? Can they be sharp with their movement?
Calfo gets a yellow on that foul. 4 players on the pitch with a yellow card for Texoma. From Ramirez. Had it down by Gray. Rayo lives. Was looking for a cutter in the box. Sent wide. Martinez. Taking on Jordan. Jordan misses. And who did it knock off of? It looked like a Texoma defender. And so a corner kick from Martinez and Foro on the way. Jordan is down in some pain. He's holding his eye.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. A caution has been issued by the referee to Texoma FC. Number 5, Angelo Kaifer, and the 94th.
Foro getting set up on this corner kick. Opportunity for a second ball if it can be kept in. Slicing through, ends up behind. Punched out by Calfo defensively. A shot from outside the box. And it hits into a defender.
Johnny's work rate has just been unstoppable tonight. The way he's able to cover, be influential in both boxes.
McCready punches it away. Redirects to the opposite side. Still at it, Foro. Looking for another cross. Too powerful.
Good response from Foro. Saw a couple chances early on in this extra time for Texoma, but they've done it with earning free kicks, earning corners. Had that long throw. Committed to being dangerous in the second and third wave.
Another offside call against Johnny this time. Oh, Texoma struggling in that regard. Well, Forbes and his staff disagree, but I think most of them have truly been offside. Just some of these mental mistakes for Texoma. And a yellow card's coming to the bench. The assistant coach for Texoma just got a little rowdy there. Goes to Adam Lewis, the assistant for Texoma. And Forbes still arguing his case. Well, Texoma plays it out from the back. Calfo slips it to Johnny. Asante makes a run. Solomon Asante rolls out.
This is going to be a situation where Texoma is going to want to see if they can pin Foro into their own end on some of these sideline restarts. I know it's a deeper throw in. Can you get the numbers forward? Can you turn them over here in the attacking half?
Oh, just an awkward landing there for Preston Kilwine. Doesn't appear to be all right, but it's a transition chance for Foro on the other end. Padilla shoots, he tallies! Foro SC takes the lead in extra time. It's Brian Padilla yet again.
And showcasing the quick strike ability here, the turnover in the middle of the field. And that's what's hurt Texoma, is where and when they lose possession. But the progressive vision, the positive thought from this Foro side, the ability to not only recuperate possession, but their immediate thought is how quickly and how effectively can I go forward. And that ball slipped in for Brian Padilla, who is now on a brace.
It really was a great ball to Padilla. And he's shoulder to shoulder with Valentine the whole time and still gets a quality shot of past McCready. Padilla, a player that went through some trials and tribulations when he played at Maryland for college soccer. He tore his ACL twice. And now he lands here with the UPSL team, Foro SC. You mentioned it, a brace. Could that be the game winner? There's still a lot to go in extra time. Remember, 2 15-minute halves, so we're not even through the first half of extra time. But it's deflating if you're Texoma.
They're going to have to come back for a second time in this Open Cup match to keep your dreams of advancing alive. But we knew if we were going to have a breakthrough on either side, mentioned on Texoma's side, Pepe, Jane, who've been heavily involved, and Brian Padilla for Foro. He's kind of had some moments where he was able to get on the ball in the final third, but just nothing sustainable. But that ball played through, was fully committed to driving at goal.
Chavez.
Now you got to imagine that unless it's a clear-cut opportunity to go forward, that Foro is going to just get all their numbers behind the ball, make Texoma break them down, earn the scoring chance.
Kilwine. Yeah, just slipping into that low block here for OSC. Now defending for the rest of this match. Can they hang on and pull off a cup set for the second year in a row? Asante has something to say about that. He's pushed off the ball.
What do both these teams have left? Now for Texoma, knowing that there's a possibility as you earn a free kick here. And that's what Foro is going to want to try to limit. Obviously going to have to deal with this. So we see the yellow card out as well.
Robinson gets a yellow card. Jordan uncomfortable after that lower body knock. Opportunity equalize if this is executed right for Texoma. They've come back before in this match. It's Asante. Two-time USL Championship Player of the Year. In possession now for Texoma. On his right foot, back post. Kalfa was the option, and it's just out of reach.
Yeah, for Texoma, knowing that you're probably going to live in Foro's defensive half for the remaining portion of this match. So now it becomes about the quality in which you break them down. You're not necessarily going to see some of the transition moments that you have seen, the commitment from Foro to find that outlet ball as we continue to see kind of that ball spilled out and possession regained by Texoma. So how do you find that balance between going from how wide open this match was to now you have to be comfortable playing into some tight areas, putting yourself in a position where you can connect play.
Jordan Looks like he was unable to keep that in. Oh, the flag went up against Texoma again. A minute of stoppage time in this first half of extra time. Valentine. And there's the whistle to end the first half of extra time. Foro SC in the lead now after Brian Padilla finishes a chance on a great transition opportunity for Foro SC. And they've got 15 minutes to close this one out.
Yeah, quality opportunity for Foro, and it starts with a quality win at midfield and the ability to not only regain possession, but find that pass in behind to Brian Padilla, and Brian Padilla did the rest. The commitment, the strength to hold off the defender, and then the composure to tuck that ball away. And as you mentioned, now for 15 minutes, it's going to be on Foro to make sure that they are disciplined and structured defensively, getting the numbers behind the ball, winning those second and third actions, making sure they're not giving up any needless free kicks that allow Texoma to get numbers in the 18-yard box and make it difficult for Foro to close this game out.
So as we get ready for the end of this game, no matter how it shakes out, we are finishing up here in these 15 minutes and maybe going to penalties if Texoma gets an equalizer. Things got going the first half of regulation, and it came from, yet again, a counter opportunity. This is a handball in the box. It's called against Texoma. Padilla steps up and buries the penalty.
Yeah, good transition from Foro, that outlet pass. And then to start the second half, Foro had picked that red card to end the first 45. Asking questions was Texoma, and they got the answer with the equalizer by McManus. But as we just saw just a few moments ago, the Brian Padilla strike puts his team up 2-1 and on the verge of a cup set if they can hold on for 15 more minutes.
Well, Texoma has had an opportunity to speak about these final 15 minutes. The club in game number 1, an expansion side in USL League 1. Can they come back here at home and avoid this narrative and a tough way to kind of start your season? Losing to a UPSL side, of course, that has a history of beating professional teams. McCready.
And for Foro, understanding that when they're going to press, they do it collectively. Everything they do is led by this front line. If they take space, all the other following lines climb the field as well. Make sure that there's no gaps to play into, no freedom for Texoma, the ability to play through them and take advantage of moments like this.
This is promising for Foro, and it hits the side of the net. Oh, a decent look there from Martinez. He just kept on going, has the fitness as a sub that came on later. Didn't have the angle on that one, but again, it just kills some clock if you're Foro, and you'll take it.
Just want to see precious time come off the clock. Any moment, you can go forward, you can take it to a corner, or if you can capitalize and make this a 3-1 game.
Jordan. Kilwine. Calfo. Was back and forth. The option was Jordan, stepping to the defense there in Smith as he sails that one out of play. Off the service from Jordan. Back out for Texoma. Valentine. Smith.
And we talked about it earlier, the ability for Adrian Forbes and this side to get a look at the way they're going to play, not only tactically, but goal up, goal down scenarios.
Jordan blocked. The defense stays strong for Foro SC.
And right now, Texoma living out in real time the goal down scenario. So who on this team is going to help find that blend of being patient, but also picking that moment where urgency is vital, and it will allow you to execute in the final third and create that chance that you need to send this game to penalties.
Asante fights for it, and that was a good ball, but there was no one on the end of it. Jordan and Pepe were still making runs. But a little bit of a spark from Texoma. You saw Jane on the ground, Asante as well, leading the charge. Here's Asante. Goes down in the box, play on. Shoulder to shoulder there with Pino.
Foro is going to want to make sure that they have more help and support behind in those moments where Solomon Asante can do what he does so well and recognize where his defender is set up and get a quality turn. The awareness, he always knows where he is around the box.
Asante. Off his right foot, Pepe again stretching for it. No shot.
Now, for Foro, you need to be careful with retreating too quickly. Great outlet ball.
Martinez looking to curl that one up. Here's a chance, and just stretching a leg out in the nick of time is Leland Gray, because that was a really good chance potentially for Foro. I saw Lopez in a dangerous area. Seems like that would have put the game away.
Yeah, this is a sequence that starts with a Solomon Asante delivery into the Foro box, and the quick outlet. Just continue to be incredibly efficient when they do decide to play forward. With all the numbers they're defending with, very efficient with when they choose to climb the field.
Rayo. Cleared by Chavez. McCready has to be the one to restart, or Chavez, but has to pull it back. Player goes down, potential cramping going on. And Vargas blows the whistle. Much to the chagrin of the Texoma players.
And something that we would expect to see with as much ground and as much as these players have put into this match.
Well, less than 10 minutes to go in extra time, Texoma and Foro. But he has scored in the first half of extra time. At the moment, that's a game winner. Well, Chavez and his coach Forbes arguing with our assistant referee. And Texoma begins again.
I think they want an explanation on why there was a stoppage.
Asante. And a nice tackle by Robinson. I think he was done well today.
He had to get that right, and he did.
So John A got a yellow card previously, and then we just saw another yellow come out. Asante with some pressure in front of Santa Martinez. Macrini picks it up. Quick roll. Gray dribbles into space now for Texoma.
You're going to see everything played quickly from Texoma. Can you catch Foro in any sort of transition, any moment where they're switched off? And not even just switched off individually, but switched off collectively in regards to some of the distances and some of the support that they've been so good at tonight.
Chavez. Asante. Slams that off a defender. Corner's coming.
It's an example of patience turning into an opportunity to get Solomon Asante in the attacking third and earning a corner.
Asante skips through. And again, no shot for Texoma. Oh, 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes for Foro to hang on. Oh, just an update. McManus got a yellow card from the bench. We saw one come out, but we're just waiting to confirm. But McManus, yellow card from the bench. We saw an assistant coach, Lewis, get a yellow card from the bench as well for Texoma. Frustrations boiling over late in this game for the USL League One side, in danger of losing to a UPSL team in the first round of the Open Cup. Valentine.
Since making their US Open Cup debut, Foro has made it a habit of advancing out of the first round.
Pepe in the box, Pepe! Santa Martinez denies. The keeper coming up big for Foro, just touches that one away. It is a corner kick though, of course, for Texoma. Can they keep this momentum going? From Jordan, near post. Pepe's there for the header. Valentine as well. Everybody reaching for it. And it's not kept in the 18. In fact, it's redirected. McCready was up the keeper for Texoma. Now he has to get back into position. And of course, this Foro team's gonna try to catch him off his line. Martinez. And it's a foul.
This is almost exactly what you wanted for Texoma. You get Diego Pepe 1-versus-1 with Santa Martinez. Obviously good coverage from Foro defensively in terms of getting behind Santa Martinez. But Santa Martinez has had some big plays tonight. He had a couple in the first half. He had that save on Diego Pepe on the breakaway. In the first 45, he had that save off that.
Valentine, nice ball. Gray. He was there. It was a good run, but his header was just not on frame. Don't think he even got a piece of that one. Frustrating day for Texoma. McCready. Valentine. Just a couple minutes left. Texoma 4-0. Asante. Johnny. Asante. And it's against Asante.
There's going to be no rush from Foro to get this ball back in play. Spend as much time as possible figuring out who's taking it and maybe reestablish who's taking it. As you see Santa Martinez making sure that he's going as far as possible.
McCready. Quickly to Valentine. Calfo. Oh, they have to go forward. Texoma. Jordan. Calfo. Everyone making sure they're onside. Johnny having issues there as Pino wins out. Kills some clock as well. Johnny. Off the turn. Through the middle now to Asante. And the flag goes up again. Another offside call against Texoma.
There's going to be a lot of frustrating elements for this Texoma side, and obviously the amount of offside is gonna it's gonna be something that they're gonna take a strong look at. We've got 12 of them in this match so far.
Asante, back post, Pepe. I was making a run, but once again, that final third, issues getting on the same page here for Texoma. 12 offside calls against Texoma in this game. Sometimes that can be again, first game jitters or just not being in the swing of things, but maybe a lack of discipline in this game as well for Texoma. We just saw another yellow card come out against Foro in Arreo. Off the header, saved. Santa Martinez leaps for it. And that seemed like a great opportunity, a great chance. And then the other way, here comes Foro. Martinez all alone, taking on McCready, skips past the keeper, tackled away. It was Jordan the last line. And he saves today, at least for now, for Texoma. Things are about to get a bit wonky, I think. Asante lifts in transition for Chavez. And a push from behind as Ramirez falls. Our assistant referee is going to break things up. We are in stoppage time of the final half of extra time. And we're into almost the unknown here.
And two loud scoring opportunities. We saw Diego Pepe almost get on the end of the one inside of the Foro box, and then Foro doing what they've done all game, which is finding a terrific ball over the top. Martinez just unable to put this one away. Decisive with his ability to take that touch past McCready, but just unable to get to that second ball.
There's the final whistle. We've got a cup set for the second year in a row. Foro SC takes down a professional side. This time, Foro defeats Texoma 2-1 in extra time.
And for Texoma, it was asked a lot of different questions and created a lot of different opportunities. Good variety in the final third. Just didn't reward themselves with that final execution and the ability to be clinical in that ball. And Foro absorbed that first 10-15 minutes and then created some excellent chances for themselves. As we could see, we look through the highlights, some of the early moments from Texoma negated by this counterattack, the handball in the box, the earned penalty, and then Padilla, absolutely no doubt about the deception in the run-up there, buries that one. And then just a few moments later, Padilla again putting Texoma in a difficult situation where Ozzy Ramos picks up the red card as the last player. And right before the break, Foro picks up a red card. So we level at 10 players apiece. The equalizer, this is early on in the second half, so plenty of time for Texoma to push to find the game winner, but Foro just continued to find different areas and moments to punish Texoma, and Padilla just buries this left-footed strike.
Well, Padilla the hero in this one. Foro with a defeat over Texoma. Again, it's a cup set, and the UPSL side comes out victorious against the USL League One team. That's going to do it from us here in Sherman, Texas. The final score 2-1 in extra time, a win for Foro SC. Have a fantastic night, everyone.